Welcome back to another episode of Adoptions from the Heart TV. Today we're going to be sitting down with Geoffrey, who's going to share his experience of adopting for a second time.
Alright, so Geoffrey, you and your husband are in the adoption process for a second time.
We are. Yeah.
Can you tell me a little bit about how this has been different?
Sure. Yeah, I think the big difference is our family looks different now than it did when we were adopting for the first time, obviously, because now we have a child in our family. And I think with that, there's just a lot of other considerations that, that go into what we're looking for, what we're open to, and just trying to figure out and plan out, what does that family dynamic going to look like kind of going forward. I think, one of those considerations is our daughter Rebekah, who is 19 months old now and amazing. She's African American, and that, we were open to building a trans-racial adoptive family when we adopted her, clearly. And we're open to that again now, but I think we've had a lot of conversations about what does that look like going forward if she has another sibling that is not African American or looks very different than her, or if her sibling is African American and there's two African American children in a family with two Caucasian or Caucasian Asian parents, and just kind of thinking through how would that affect the children, how would that affect the family dynamic and their experiences in life. So that's a big part of the conversation I think we've had about that. And then I think another part that we've just considered a lot is just the relationship with the birth parents and the birth family. We're lucky to have a really wonderful relationship with Mika's birth mom, and we've built that since day one with her. We've just considered, okay, what is that experience going to be like for her when we have another child and there's another birth mom in the picture, and there's Mika's relationship with now two different birth moms. One is her mom and one is her siblings, and I think there's a lot of complexities in that, and I think similar to the first time, we don't know what the answer is to that, and I think I think our way of approaching it is just to be open, and I think that's how we've tried to navigate it with Mika and growing our family so far. It's just being open and honest with her birth mom and any of the fears and things that we're worried about. I think that's all we can do, right? Because other than that, we're trying to just force things to happen, and you don't know how they're going to happen. So.
Do you feel like having an open adoption in your first situation is preparing you for another open adoption?
I think so, yeah. I mean, I think part of the preparation is just understanding and learning that there is no one way to do it. And we've talked with other adoptive families, and everyone has a different experience, and we've talked about our relationship with Mika's birth mom, and it's a beautiful relationship, but it's also one that we've had to learn how that works as time goes on. But I think that process is preparing us to deal with that again and build that relationship with someone new.
Do you feel like having a transracial adoption of one race would lead you to be more open in your key now, or more closed? How are you planning for your next adoption?
Yeah. That's a lot of the conversations we've had is I think we're leaning more to even being more close to in the sense of having being open to races that are being open to only African American as a second adoptive child. For that reason of we think about what would our daughter's experience be like if she were the only African American person in our family, and that might be very challenging for her.
Yeah, but it seems like you guys are really educating yourselves and learning from the past.
We're trying to. Yeah, that's the goal.
Thanks so much, Geoffrey, for sharing your experience. We're hopeful that this will help other families who might be considering adopting for a second time.